Good morning, everyone. Hello, Pavel. Nice to see you.
Again.
We're happy to have you with us. Okay. I cannot see Irina. Is she Irina? Well, I think she's the one who better knows the moment we start.
I'm here. I don't know. I can't see myself, but it doesn't matter.
We can hear
Your screen
you.
works.
Yes, we can get started, Pavel. I understand that you are in this session. Wish you all possible success during this session, especially our students. They worked very hard during the past 2 weeks, and now we're going to see the fruits of this. Okay. You probably will introduce. That's it. Okay.
Of course. So, good morning, and since we have this weekend session, let's make it as useful as possible. And definitely there will be your speeches, your materials we will be discussing, and they're both about technologies, they're about people as well. And at this year's session, there will be a team of 3 of us. Nikolai will start with the material related to enterprise transformation and using of product and architectural approach. And since we are working together with Nikolai, believe me, what he will be talking about is not a translation of some book or some methodology, is his real everyday practical life. He will be talking about, and please use the possibility to ask him questions, because he's busy with implementing this digital transformation things in a very, I would say, extremely challenging environment he's working in. This will be our introductory part, and then we will have the report, the student presentation, and definitely we will be discussing and asking questions about it. And second speech, Angelica. Second speech, Angelica, are you here? Well, what Nikolai is doing is a piece of magic about transformation in very big organization, and Angelica is another piece of magic. Since a year ago, she was in the same audience as a student. But later on, I learned very fast that several years she's busy with several projects as a product manager in HR tech. So we did some small projects together, and she will be talking about corporate education and how responsibility is allocated between employee, and between the company. And we will have another report, another presentation. And it's very good that some of the presentations are about technology, some of them are about people, because since companies becoming more and more digital, and I would say more and more challenging in terms of external driven and internal driven change, there is still a human connection and human aspects which are becoming more important. And I will conclude with my speech about person-to-person mentoring in a corporate environment. It's quite a good luck to meet a person who will navigate you in terms of work you do, in terms of career you build, and sometimes in terms of yourself, because mentoring is quite complicated. And well, actually, I met 2 of these mentors. So I met this magic 2 times in my life, and I will try to tell the personal story of how it happened, what it gave, and what it takes, and what are the challenges, and how to approach this in building your careers. So it's pretty much the plan. And I suggest coming straight to the speeches. And Nikolai, the floor is yours. Please open the presentation. By the way, all the materials, when you're opening the presentation, all the materials we will be presented together, they are fresh. They are not something which is 10 times, presented in different audiences or conferences. So more or less, we were preparing this material to this event, to meeting with you. Nikolai,
Yep.
please go ahead.
Yep. Everything is okay with my screencast?
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, fine. Okay. So, okay. I'm really glad to be here. My name is Nikolai Turatin, and currently I'm working for one of oil and gas company. And today I will speak about combination of product management and corporate architecture in order to create successful digital transformation. So I have been working in technology for more than 10 years in different positions, and my final position is enterprise architect. And even 5 years ago, it was like positions that we really don't need change. So in working level. So, but after COVID events and all other political stories, nowadays changes is really vital. So we need to change, and everyone understanding. So if we are speaking about change, the first idea, it's agile approach, it's product management, and okay, let's shift from projects to products and let's do some Scrum. So the main idea behind it's to be focused on the client, to make short experiments, to check some hypotheses, and check your progress based on metric, and step by step improve your efficiency and make a better product. So yes, it works in the case if you're really a tech company. It's digital by the nature, like on the left picture. So in this case, you can easily create new piece of product, check it on your target audience, so and improve it if you have a good feedback. But if you're working in like a traditional company, especially if you're working in digital transformation of big company, it's not the case. Everything is much more much more complex. Why? Because you have like your customer, my main customer, he's a big boss who has a vision. So, and then the picture looks like that. So he have idea, you check it, but real people who work with your product don't want it. So, and it's looked like that. So you can see this scheme. And finally, when your product
Nikolai, I don't see your slides changing.
Oh, really? So we have a problem.
So there is a still. Oh, no, it's okay.
Okay.
No, it's fine.
No, it's okay. Yep. So, okay, traditional business, internal digital transformation, everything is much more complex. So you're producing some product, and always sometimes it happens like this. So finally you have forget about some requirements of, for example, information security, and you stopped. So you cannot actually deliver your product because you have some problem with digital security guys. So what should we do? So how should we start digital transformation in a big company? So first of all,
well, Nikolai, I would make some addition to this part. It's not about just security guys. It's about other stakeholders. It's about the situation when you have 3 persons in the room and 4 opinions. So it's about all
Even
these
more.
roadblocks which are depicted on the on your slide.
Yep. We will consider it later a little bit. So, but how to start anyway? So, the first point is to start from clear vision. Yeah. So because the initial idea of your client, who is a big boss, is just a hallucination, how it should be. Yeah. And clear vision, it's not about 30 page of thesis, it's about 1 page. And this is practice called Canvas. It's well known from Osterwald business model Canvas or Lean Canvas and so on. But we elaborated this shorter form, yeah, which much more shorter and clear. So first of all, start with your target segment. Who is these people? Yeah, where they worked, in which processes they worked, in what organization unit they are, and then think about what problem do they have, what's the real problem. And sometimes it's really point to some research, probably such practices, customer development, problem interview, and so on. So it's about problem, identifying problems of potential. So then if you have problem, you have to solve it. And it's the next block, it's about solution, what could be the best and simplest solution for this problem. So it's very important. Then consider the value which this solution brings to your target audience, target segment, target people. So it's also like what will be better than it was. And the third part and the next part is metrics. It's how to measure this value. So it's rather simple, but it helps us to check all hallucination. So it's a really simple one tool. So also in product management, we have a good toolbox to elaborate all of these points. So you can see here some of this practice on the slide. It could be like a
Nikolai, I think you're still at this slide with the B2C and B2B. So please check
really?
One more time. Yeah. Something with this. Now you move to the next slide, right? So it's now about the product idea slide on the screen.
Yeah. So I guess we have some problem with this slide change. So is it okay now?
Yeah, it's a product idea slide.
It's product idea slide, as we discussed already a little bit. So the next one. So okay, if you check all these points, we have a clear idea, and it's not a hallucination. If we ask all the questions about our target audience, about problems, about solution, about value, about metrics. Actually, it looks like quite simple, but it's not. So, and in project management, we have a lot of different tools which help us to elaborate all of these points. So you can see some of these tools on this slide. So it could be like a problem interview for problem discovering, or it could be like a prioritization technique for solutions. And also we have a lot of different tools which help us to work with your ideas. Okay. But really, in the real world, if you do everything absolutely correctly with all these products toolbox, but when you're working in corporation, everything is much more complex. So why? Because we always have some questions which we need to answer about how our products fits into the organizational landscape. Yeah, it's not about like a one question, but it's a lot of question. Yeah, it's question about processes, it's questions about technology, and questions about future. So because you are producing product not in vacuum, you are doing in corporation landscape. It's better. So okay, if you speak about corporation, so landscape, now we should to consider such things like enterprise architecture. So it's the next slide. So the enterprise architecture, it's a really broad area, broad discipline. We describe how our company can access the strategy goals by means of its structure. So, and you can see this is like a multi-layered structure, yeah, and we need to consider all different things. So first of all, we need to start about we need to think about strategy, yeah, what we need, yeah, what our stakeholders needs on enterprise level. So it could be like a market share, it could be a decreased time to market or whatever. So what is our targets? What's the main requirements in the business field? So the next level, it's like real business processes, real people, business roles, division, and so on. So it's a level of business layer. So okay, business always produce some data, and the next layer, we need to produce some data, and we need to operate data really in the right manner. So if you have data working with some applications, with IT solutions, and this is next level, is the level of function, applications, integrations, and so on. So, but it's not enough. And nowadays we have a lot of limitation on this level. It's due to substitution of Microsoft, or with limitation of even of open source solutions. So it's very important layer right now. So, and the next one, it's about database, technology services, technologies platform, servers, and so on. And the next one, it's about where your solution works. Yeah, it's physical space, physical computer, servers, thoughts, and so on. So it's the last level of corporate architecture. Okay, Pavel, do you want to add? Do you want to add something?
Well, I will be adding, but after you complete the speech.
So, and it's described somewhere. Sure, it's described, but usually this about huge documents, 100 pages, and based on these documents, it's very difficult to find relation between different parts, and it's very difficult to identify gray zone. So it means we need to shift from just paper, just documents, to some notation or language. And indeed, in corporate architecture, we have a special notation which is called Archimate. And the Archimate, it's like a language, and language we have some words. It's like elements in Archimate, and you have some rules and connection between them. So it's relationships between elements. So, and by means of Archimate, we can describe motivation of our change. It's very important. Yeah, what's the expectation? What's the rules? What's the limits of our change? We can describe our strategy, like value stream map. Yeah, what's our business by helicopter view? Business capabilities, it's also the same level. So then we can extend the business capabilities by process, business process, with all elements of business process. Then we can speak about application elements, and we can model it. What software can support our business elements. As the next one, it's our technology. It's about our requirements to servers, and so on. And even we can model the transition state of our corporate architecture, what we want to do first and what we can do in second, and so on. So it's like a language, and it's very good because you can model it. Yeah, you can do one model instead of a lot of documents. So, and it's actually good options to start from models, and then from models make some documents, required documents. So let's have some example. It's an example of one of our project actually. So it's about strategy. We have stakeholders. So on first line, then our stakeholders have some drivers. Drivers, it's about how stakeholders make a decision based on what context. Then we have assignment. Yeah, assignment, it's the results of our research. What's the recent trends? Or what could be in future? What is this point which we want to improve? So the third, the next layer, it's about our strategy. It's about our projects, what we want to do in the end, like general results. And the last layer, it's about principles, it's about requirements, and it's about limitations. So, and you can see in this slide, on this view, we already have a connection between our strategy and information technology. So, and it's really nice because sometimes it's not very obvious, but it should be when you're creating your product inside of corporation. So, the next slide, it's already another level. So let's consider we are working with some reporting system, yeah. And
Nikolai, can you please try extending the slide to the full screen?
Okay. It was some problem because Is it okay right now?
No, it's still surprisingly the slide is not on the full screen, so probably it's better not to touch in it. Yeah, and by the way, you have 3 minutes to complete.
The time it's okay. Did you see the next picture?
Yeah, it's a full picture of changes.
Yep, exactly.
Slides.
Yeah, it's some gap. Okay, we have some gap. Okay, if we identify the general view of transformation from stakeholders, drivers to main principles, we can go further. We can go on the field on real people. So, and let's consider some example. For example, we are working with some reporting system, and you discovered that reporting producing in Excel file. So we can describe it in general form on this business level. You can see this yellow picture. So then we can think about how to optimize it by application layer. Let's make some service on preparation information of reports. So, and we already can check that it's connected with our strategy level. So it's important, yeah, because it means it's really needed for your company. It's not like a hallucination or wish of one big boss. So it's a part of strategy. So, and the third level, you can see it's green one. It's about technology. So, and it's one of the biggest problem in corporation, because nowadays we have a strong limitation of a number of security or a number of technology which we can work. So, and we can work with these levels. What kind of technology? What exactly technology we can use? So, not all of them are legal right now. So, and nowadays we are focused on this third level. Yeah, we are thinking about creation some digital fabric with a limited number of components, limited but a number of components which is approved by information security. But also, it's a recent trend of no-code products. It's also very important for us. So. We considered product management. We talked about enterprise architecture, about different levels of enterprise architecture, how it's created to connected to each other. So, and the next part, yeah, it's about a little bit about mathematics, because these models, it's not just a picture, it's a models, it's a connected object, and you can work with this like a
Slide
graph.
is not yet
Oh,
switched.
wow.
Yeah, now it's
now-
fine.
Now it's fine. Okay. It's a feature. So it's not about picture, it's about objects, and we can work with this by means of mathematics. It's a graph structure, and we can calculate the distance between different features or different organizations. So it's really a broad part for research by mathematics. So, and the next slide, it's the last one actually from my part. It's about people. Yeah, you can see this. So, okay, if you create a good product and even your product fits to enterprise architecture well, it's still like questions about people. So, but actually, I guess it's the next part of Pavel and Angelica. We need to work with technology, with product, and with people also. So, it's my
Nikolai,
last slide.
Nikolai, thank you very much. And please put plus if you found this material interesting. If you have questions, put plus into the comments. And I would love to comment a little bit on this material. I would say there are several reasons it's important. So after the graduation, or probably already, you will be working in IT, or you will be working in other business functions like sales or some others. And I would recommend considering this product and architectural approach, regardless of are you in IT or are you somewhere else? Because one of the things which stops corporate changes is that non-IT persons don't understand this quite fundamental IT things. Why this understanding is fundamental? Organizations are becoming more complicated. There are more digital components, more data, faster processes, more personalized services for customer. So organizations are becoming more and more complicated. And if you don't manage them structurally, and structurally for me means architecturally, what is the price of changes? First and basic price is endless meetings until midnight. People are trying to agree all the data components, software components, organization components, who is doing what and who is doing how. And using this architectural approach, you immediately find the possibility to understand, okay, you have business strategy and you need some business systems for it. Not the situation that, okay, we implemented some system just to implement some system, if this link is not established. And I would add one more component, which is relevantly recent. Organizations are changing their borders. Let me give you an example. Pretty soon you will graduate and you will have your diploma. And definitely you will find a restaurant to, let's say, to have a party about it. So you look at Yandex, which is digital platform, and you find this restaurant. You click the button and you make the booking directly from Yandex. But surprisingly, there is other digital platform behind of this booking. So you didn't yet enter the restaurant, but you tackled two different platforms, taking some business processes of this restaurant. Then you get in, then you place the order, and waiter is putting something into his mobile phone or her. And surprisingly, there is one more separated and dedicated digital platform, taking this part of business let's say, business process. So you have your meal, and at the end, you give tips. And believe it or not, there is one more digital platform. So we have one use case, and we met 4 digital components, which make this landscape quite interesting, quite complicated, and quite changing. So please, let's have a possibility to ask Nikolai some questions, probably about the methodology, probably about using it in your career path, maybe at the starting phase. Please.
There is a
Your
question in the chat.
Yeah. What's more important for business culture? To hire the right people or to make the right procedures for performing work operation? So I would say both. So about right people, you have a different kind of work in your company, you know. So and it could be it could be different people, absolutely different people. For example, information security has a job to stop your work if it's not suits that limitation, you know. So and right procedure is also very important. I guess it's much more important than hire the right people, but it's be for sure both. So Kirill, both, only both.
Thank you very much.
Only both.
I would add, there is a very good question, first of all, and companies are making different decisions about it, especially about complying the culture. I think you all know the Netflix company, and Netflix fundamentally changed their corporate culture. There are some materials in the internet about it, and they made a decision that we are a high performance company. They have a high requirements to professionalism. They have huge benefits as a balance for this professionalism, but they said the thing that if you don't comply the company culture, if you don't behave in a compliancy, well, company will get rid of you. Some companies, let's say, are more tolerant to people who are of different culture. So it's tough decision, tough choice. Very good question. Thanks. Any more questions? I think we will tackle both the technology things, and we will tackle more human things and cultural things in later speeches. But now we go to the speech related to the drone technology. And please, group number 2, I kindly ask Nikolai, please close your screen. Group number 2.
Little question to Nikolai.
Okay, please.
Okay.
So you said that in traditional business, it's much harder to implement some changes. So, and what to do with this like big boss that so he don't want any change, and he think that traditional and non-technological some method of making things is good. So I myself faced this problem when I worked in central bank. So I just that was impossible to do anything with that.
Damir, yeah, thanks. It's I understood you well. Yeah, two approaches. First of all, is benchmark. Yeah, just show them how it could be. Yeah, do not recommend. Just show. So show some examples. Show some examples of product. The first one, and then make some product research, you know. So make some product research and then schedule second appointment with the results of this research. So it's effects. It's much more easier to understand than general approach. So
Nikolai, I fully agree with both points, but I would add the third one. Any person, is he or she technically advanced or not, they have interests. So show them their interest, that if this project will be implemented, there will be a gold medal for you, there will be a plus sign, or, you know, some benefits or something. It takes time to learn on how to find this, let's say, benefit and how to present. But at the end of the day, this is also the component. One of our colleagues was working with the central bank. It's quite surprisingly, it's quite a digital organization. And I would say that I noticed after approximately 2010, before it, definitely it was the situation. IT guys will create the system. IT guys should give me one big button, I press it and everything works. So executives started to learn technology. Executives started to get interested. And the reason is very simple. If they don't follow technologies, if this, other benchmarks will be much more advanced, these executives will be wiped out from the organization at the end of the day. So again, extremely good question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so to follow the timing, I would like group number 2, please, your slides or your
Okay.
speech. If you don't have slides,
Yeah,
please
we
go
have
ahead.
slides and we have speech.
Okay.
Damir, we can see your screen, fine.
Okay, okay. So so
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anastasia Aksenenko, and my colleagues are Arina Zimskova, Daniil Baiduk, Damir Saitov, and Grigory Grigorians. And today we will discuss such a topic as drones are not the future, but the present. Importance of digital skills. Please, next slide.
sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It goes.
Drones have become increasingly relevant in the modern world due to their versatility and numerous application across various industries. In a forecast by Business Insider released in 2014, the civilian UAV market was estimated at $1 billion in the 2023, but in reality, in 2023, the market volume of industrial drones will reach $10 billion, and this doesn't take into account military objectives. And the ability to gather data, provide unique perspectives, and perform tasks efficiently and safely make them indispensable tools in various industries. And which areas exactly will my colleagues tell you about?
Areas of application of drones. The files of drone use are very diverse. Agriculture, construction, soaring, and photography. Geodesy, infrastructure inspection, search and rescue operations, and also military purposes. There are some interesting examples. In the Chinese province of Heilongjiang, drones are used for training Amur tigers by hunting for aircraft. Tigers maintain their physical shape. And since 2021, helicopter type drones have been used by the Russian post in the Chukotka autonomous.
Can you hear me? There is some suspension of the speaker.
Yeah.
Please, someone can you
Something.
proceed?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Fine.
So, Grigory, is your internet connection okay right now? Okay, something happened. So anyway, so yeah, in Chukotka, drones were used for delivery. Also in Dubai, you can see picture on the slide. There were first, it's like not drones but helicopters, but they also there is no pilot, and that's the main difference. So it was used by like taxi. You sit there, you put some numbers, you put your address in the special tablet, and then you have like 30 minutes flight. And also, for example, in USA, Domino's Pizza in different states deliver their orders by flying drones, and that's even cheaper right now than using couriers. So, yeah.
Of course, using drones in the workplace can bring several advantages for employees. Drones can enhance employees' safety by enabling them to perform tasks in hard-to-reach areas remotely. They can improve efficiency by speeding up data collection, monitoring, and inspections, saving employees' time, and reducing physical strain. Drones also provide employees with new skills and training opportunities in operating and managing high technology, thus fostering professional development. Additionally, drones can boost employee morale by introducing innovative and engaging tools into their daily work, leading to increased job satisfaction and motivation. Overall, utilizing drones can benefit employees by streamlining processes, enhancing safety, and encouraging career growth.
Currently, unmanned system technologies are developing very intensively, and therefore there is a shortage of personnel in the labor market. And specialists in unmanned aviation systems need to be trained in an accurate mode. And it is very difficult and expensive to conduct training on real drones. As one drone on average costs from 50,000 rubles to several million. And to solve this problem, a large number of educational software programs are being created. For example, one of them is QuadraSim. It is the first Russian drone simulator that allows training qualified personnel. And this product is developed entirely in Russia by a young team and is already being used in more than 100 educational organizations throughout our country. The educational tool QuadraSim is designed for both the initial introduction to drone devices and for practicing previously acquired skills. The wide range of drone settings allows for the most realistic transfer of the flight physics and the behavior of a specific drone in simulator. In addition to flight control skills, it is possible to practice assembling drones from various components and also programming flights with drones with artificial intelligence on the simulator. The simulator is available in different versions for different organizations for specific tasks.
So, to sum up, obviously drones are very important for states, for organizations, for ordinary people, as we said, for delivery, for taxi, and etc. So, of course, they have disadvantages, and everyone who lives in Moscow and drives car knows that right now in central of the city, it's really big problems with GPS. It is because of drones, and it's because drones are very dependent on GPS, and that is why it is specifically against them. But right now, for example, in previous sessions, we discussed artificial intelligence, and if scientists and engineers will put artificial intelligence into the drone, it will be like ultimate. I should say it is really dangerous that it would not depend on any GPS, and it's no one knows who what will happen after that. But anyway, a lot of people should understand and should develop new digital skills, and it's about everybody, about engineers, about scientists, about lawyers, because there is no clear legislation in any country about drones. So obviously they all need to develop these new skills. So that's all. If you have any questions, for example, about QuadraSim, some members of our team are working there, so we will be glad to answer to them. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and please put the plus signs to your friends and colleagues. I have a few brief comments. First of all, you mentioned Domino Pizza for the delivery. I would answer that it was Dodo Pizza and Fedor Ovchinnikov, their head, who piloted drone delivery of pizza. They were first in the world. So they did it several years previously. This is one thing. Another thing is very good that you mentioned lawyers, because when the big technology wave is coming, and drones is definitely a big technology wave, traditional environment resists. When it was a transition from a traditional wired cable telephone system to mobile, traditional companies resisted. When it was a transition from traditional taxi to platform-driven like Uber or Yandex, taxi companies affected the legislation in different countries to prevent stop. So while developing these drone things, and probably some of you you are already busy with the drone development, and some of you probably will be busy with the legislation. So I think legislation should still find a balance, because advantages of drones, benefits of drones, but there are also risks of drones. Nikolai, Angelika, is there anything you would like to add to comment the team?
Yeah. Thank you very much for good presentation. It's very hot topic, I would say. So, and I guess the main limitation it's like a government regulation, no? So, at least it's dangerous if you have a lot of drones on the air around living space, so even on industrial objects. So we will see how it will be developed. So, but I guess it's legal and. You know, so security, industrial security, at least limitation, it's an issue. So we'll see. So
Yeah.
also this problem with communication channels. So as a GPS with this time of energy source, I guess usually it's like about 30 minutes. So if you have electricity, but we'll see. It's hot topic.
What I particularly loved in this presentation is that you mentioned several application areas like agriculture and others, and you linked it to the necessity of technology people and non-technology people to learn this, the changes in business processes, the changes in company life brought by drones and possibilities. So our next topic is learning, and we see that technology affects learning. Technology gains momentum, gains speed, so there is even more need to learn. So, Angelika, please proceed with your speech. Who is responsible for this education, for this personal development? Is it individual? Is it company? Or is it somehow else? Angelika, please.
Thank you, Pavel. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Good. Just a second, my presentation.
It's on the screen.
Yes, good. So, good morning, everyone. My topic for today is employee versus employer, who is responsible for the staff professional development. My name is Angelika. Currently, I work in an IT company that creates IT products and platforms for automating HR process. Therefore, I have an opportunity to observe different opinions and different approach to development, to personal development. To begin with, I'd like to outline two opinions. So just a second. Some people believe that professional and personal development is entirely the responsibility of an individual. This means that some programs and realization of the personal potential entirely depends on the person. However, there is another opinion that even if the most talented, hardworking, and promising person is placed in the wrong environment, the employee will not be able to realize himself or herself. The wrong environment means a place of work that does not provide freedom, responsibility, training content, where there are no strong specialists around you. So before I give an example of what training looks like in practice in both cases, I'll tell you a little about components of the corporate educational system. And there is the concept called 70-20-10, which states that 70% of the time a person learns from knowledge and assignments. For instance, I, as a specialist, do work work, solve new assignments, problems, and achieve new larger scale results. And in the process, I learn a lot organically. Also, 20% of the time, a person learns through social connections, interactions, and networking. This means that a person communicates with colleagues, managers, and adopts their knowledge and experience to his or her life. Also, one of the formats is mentoring. This is also a way of development through communications. Finally, the remaining 10% of the time, an employee learns through educational content, podcasts, books, training programs, and so on. Now let's return to the main question: who is responsible for the personal development? If an employer shifts responsibility to an employee, it usually looks like this. The company has a learning management system, LMS, and a catalog of courses on core competencies, for example, soft skills. And then employees are expecting to find time for training themselves. Another option: if the employer takes 100% responsibility, it looks like this. In addition to the learning management system, the company has various programs, selected mentors, regular assessment of knowledge, and individual development plans. You can see the process on the screen. Agree, the second scenario sounds much better. However, such companies often complain about low employee engagement, as well as low training completion rates. This happens because employees, adults, have training programs imposed on them, although they do not meet their personal needs, personal goals. Therefore, the best option is to share the responsibility between the person and the employer. And this can be implemented with help of various instruments in different ways. So I'd like to conclude my speech with 3 tips. First, choose an employer who is aware of its responsibility and wants to develop its employees. Second, develop yourself constantly, not only in the workplace, not in your professional field, but in other hobbies, interests, and spheres. And the third one, take maximum opportunities for development according to the 70, 20, and 10 concept that company provides for you. Do not focus only this 10% when you learn some courses, read books, and think that you do your best. This is all. Thank you for your attention.
Angelika, thank you very much. Please prepare your questions. Put them to the chat. Put plus signs if you like it. And definitely there are a few things I'd like to add and comment. First of all, Angelika, I think there is a practical use of what you told about, is that you give markers, you give signs of the company with a good training process. So some of you will be looking for companies, some of you will be choosing workplaces, and now you know more about the signs, the markers of the company with established training and development process. It's definitely quite important, and it takes a lot from the company to establish the training strategy, to establish the institutions like corporate university or like the digital platform or combination of both. So it's quite a challenging assignment. But there is other thing I'd like to highlight. People are different in many aspects, but there is one aspect I would like to talk about. Some people are building a lifetime career. Doctor, some consultants I met, they built a lifetime career. They do pretty much the same in the small area for the life. And it's fine, perfectly. People are choosing, but I met a Brazilian diplomat who turned into craftsman, making leather, antique replicas, like gloves, other parts of the cloth made of leather. So it's quite a career transition. Me, myself, well, I changed 10 countries, 5 different industries, and 3 business functions: finance, IT, and HR. And I will probably do it a couple times before getting to retirement. So, career development path and training path for those different types of career, they will be quite different. So apply it to yourself while choosing, while coming to this, while building your career trajectory. And now, please, your questions to Angelika.
May I ask a question aloud? First of all, thank you for your presentation. It was really informative and thought-provoking. So my question is the following. In your opinion, how should an employer deal with some employees' extensive desire to education? In some spheres, for example, in state education, like university and schools, many employees constantly go to some conferences, courses, and employers should pay for that, but they don't do their work. They just study every time. So what should an employer do? To encourage them or to limit it somehow?
Mm-hmm. Thank you for your question. I think that an employer should not in some way limit its employees to learn. I'd say that HR specialists often, in contrast, worry about the law desires to and interest to educate, to learn something. As for people who spend a lot of time to learning, there are some special programs. It's called an internal experts, and what the company does. The company spends money for these people to invent them for some conferences, training programs, libraries, and so on and so on. And then these people have to adopt their knowledges into some educational programs. So these people write articles, record some videos, webinars, organize internal conferences, and share these knowledges with other people who do not spend their time for these activities, for these external activities, and something like that. So this program is called internal experts.
Thank you so much for the question.
Yeah. Well, actually, I loved this question. So, Angelika, since when you are reading the chat with the next question, I see that there is a next one. I would like also to comment a bit about this conferencing thing. First of all, it takes some professionalism to learn which conferences have a quality. Some of them are just hype. Some of them are just bullshit. So with your employee, good approach will be to establish some strategy. These conferences should be visited. These conferences should not. They are important for people because nobody can know everything. And since I'm involved in IT conferences last 25 years, I know that there is a group of people I can ask about questions which I don't know much. So building the professional network is actually part of the professionalism. So you understand where is hype and you don't take it. You understand where are people or speeches or topics which are interested and you go. Of course, there is a certain group in the companies They travel from one conference to another because there are plenty of them. So how to balance? Traditional management approach is setting goals, like measurements, what they're doing for company, what they're changing, what they implement, what they deliver. So, and then you balance this attendance at the conferences and real delivery. So to conclude, I would say it takes a little bit to establish the strategy of this conference attendance. Of course, some bosses see the risk that person will visit the conference, meet someone, and then present himself in a nice way, and then will leave. And I would quote one manager. He was asked, "You invest heavily in employee training. Are you afraid that people will train and then they will leave the company?" And he answered, "Of course I'm afraid, but I am more afraid if they don't learn and they will stay."
Thank
Angelica,
you. Commentary. I absolutely go along with your opinion.
thank you. Angelica, I saw there was another question in the chat.
Yes, thank you for this question. I'd say that when people learn through this concept, a lot of companies try to collect this end-to-end analytics, collect data, and assess the competences of its employees. It's a big problem for modern companies because that is why companies try to implement IT platforms to monitor the digital footprints of employees and to collect this big data and analyze who is communicating with whom, and also assess regular assessments of competences and assessment of knowledge. So companies try to solve this problem, and that is a real problem today.
Well, I would add something. Definitely companies are implementing the tools to identify what was the result, what was the effect of the training. Did people learn something? Did they understand it? Well, for some areas, it's relatively easy to use. For example, if they learned some IT system or some data analytical tool, are they using it in life or not? So there is a way to, to check. But in some situations, it's not that easy to validate. For example, I'm at a medical organization. They wanted to implement customer centricity. But to implement it, first of all, you need a customer-centric culture, which is, given by top managers. So top people should change their behavior to make this culture up and running, to make this culture working. So it's not that easy to, let's say, to validate and to check. So I agree with Angelica. So depending on the learning area, it's a complicated thing. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for your answer.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Nikolai, maybe you have comments
or
additions.
Yeah, I have some additions. So it's very interesting problem to identify the hidden experts, So it's some guy who knows everything about this area, and how to do it. So, and it's quite, actually, sometimes it's quite simple. So just analyze email. If he is a good expert, everyone wants to ask them something about. So it's a hint how to get these people. So just analyze event or phone calls. So be for sure we will see the difference. Be for sure.
I agree that this hidden experts is a very important topic. I met big companies. I met even government organizations busy with a huge statewide IT systems. And I was asking a question, who is the expert, who is qualified, and who is actually, doing all the work? And sometimes it's one person, sometimes quite aged, and
exactly.
Finding the hidden experts and build the knowledge management system and knowledge composing approach is quite interesting. There is one trend. All of you know ChatGPT, but companies are sometimes also using their local ChatGPT. What they are doing, They install isolated ChatGPT, and they grab all the company data, emails, technology, documentation, normatives, everything. And after a while, there is a possibility to ask, like in Google, please give me the answer. Because this ChatGPT is structuring information, keeping and giving back. So it's quite a new step in data management, in knowledge management approach.
Knowledge management,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot to hype about, but we will see the results. So actually, I'm not I'm not sure because of a hallucination effect of language model. So, but we will see.
This is an early stage. So we will be looking. By the way, if you didn't see Gardner curve of technology development, there is a very good tool to apply. Is it a hype stage? Is it a doubtful stage? Is it a success stage? Or is it a declining stage? So, and it can be applied to all the technologies like these large language models Nikolai mentioned. Okay. Angelica, are there any other questions, or team, are there other questions?
Can I ask one? So speaking about education, so sometimes when there is a new employee, another person is a mentor of him. So should the company pay him additional money, or should the company make something like a friendship between them without money, so to boost morale in the team? And how it should, because in a lot of companies, like educational and adaptation process is really not good, and so for me it's interesting how to how people with the experience what they think about this problem.
Angelica, I will touch this issue in my part as well, but please give your view of it.
I have a short answer. It depends on the company. There are different cultures and politics and rules and people and specialists and process. So it entirely depends on the company. There are companies that pay for these programs for this time. Other do not pay, just promote this this opportunity to be a mentor, to share your knowledges, to be an expert. So, yeah.
Well, to add something to the answer, I would say that all the companies want to do it, but not all the companies are succeeding with it. And I was meeting one very established, very technology-driven company with established process. So they had a process of mentoring and finding mentors and finding mentees and matching and checking of how it goes. As I said, it's a very mature company and very technological. And they told me, Pavel, you know quite a lot about the issue. It doesn't work for some reason in our case. People are spending 2 to 3 years. They don't turn into real professionals. They don't turn into real consultants. They disappoint and they leave. What is the reason? And I asked them only one question. How many mentees do you have per one mentor? And they said, roughly 16 mentees to one person. Well, sometimes I'm quite emotional. My eyes immediately turned light red. And I told them, do you really believe that professional doing his job will find a relevant time to 16 person to give a mentoring to them? Do you really believe it yourself? Please face the mirror, because you are the problem of why it's not happening. So mentoring is very much one-to-one thing. I will be telling about it later, but as Angelica told, there are very different approaches. Some companies pay, some companies put the business process around it, some companies don't. So there is no plain common answer. Good question, thank you. Okay, If there are no questions, I didn't check.
Pavel, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one question.
Uh-huh.
Previously, you gave an example of a company with some kind of a limited GPT model with the inner information of the inner database of the company. Do you have an actual example of such company in Russia?
Well, what I met was the startup, a Russian startup, busy with providing this large language model as a service to companies. Unfortunately, now I don't remember the name, so please just Google. So I was speaking to them, I was finding the company to them so they would prototype and pilot their solution, but I don't remember the name, forgive me.
Okay, thank you.
So to meet the timing, my suggestion is that we go to the next session. And since we started to talk about mentoring, it's very good that we have group number 1 with the topic of virtual mentoring. So please proceed. The floor is yours. If you've got the slides, please present the slides. If not, please go.
Yes, good morning, everyone. We have slides.
Not visible yet, but I can hear you.
I have a little problem with the demonstration.
Alina, are you alone? Who makes this presentation?
No, we're together. We're together.
Now it's on the screen. Now it's on the screen. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, 5 to 6 minutes, please, for the speech, and then we will have a discussion.
So, my name is Ekaterina Petrova. My colleague's name is Amina Magomedova, and today we're going to discuss a topic about mentoring, about navigating the challenges and opportunities of building human connections in a digital world. Next slide. So, firstly, I would like to say that technology has been the backbone of the new normal. So, there are some points that show us what has recently changed, and for example, remote work, video appointments, telehealth, contactless delivery, distance learning have become widespread. And online shops, next slide, please. Online shops are still growing, and after COVID, people's worldview has changed and greater adaptation is being made to online services. So, for example, Nike has the highest percentage of online sales among sport shops because of their customer adaptation. Next slide, please.
Business faced a tidal wave of data. Digital interaction increased 54% during the pandemic. Average increase in number of digital touchpoints with the customers is 63, increased customer insights, and greater customer engagement during the pandemic led to more insights.
Talking about intelligent personalization, there is a channel for every kind of message. Urgent notifications such as WhatsApp, Telegram, SMS, and other things. Market promotions that could be also in SMS or email. Some receipts that could be sent through email. Account verifications, identify verification, customer support, and everything could be in social media or some messengers. So, next slide, please.
And as for increasing productivity and saving time with the digital mentoring, There are some things we mentioned. It's efficient communication through online platforms, for example. Then flexibility. With digital mentoring, you can access resources and guidance at your convenience. Then personalized learning, feedback loop. Instant feedback from a digital mentor can help you make a quicker decision, and access to experts. That's all.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Please put the plus signs. And I'd like to tell the story and then transform it into question. When things turned to COVID, at that time I was working for this presidential academy, and there was isolation. So organizations and people, they got home and they kept working from home. And we got a request from Deputy Prime Minister, please make recommendations on how to make this transition, because this had been an accelerated change. So you were talking about digital mentoring. I'm talking about also digital mentoring and digital interaction between superior and subordinates, between the team, all these things. So usually such research takes 6 months to deliver. Due to the situation, I got 2 weeks. So the team was almost dead, but I reviewed what is available regarding the topic. And we found that everybody was talking about of how to take your computer and go to home. So we decided to focus on different thing. We decided to give recommendations on how to keep sane, on how not to get nuts. Because month after month, people see each other in Zoom like this matchbox, this size, and they interact, they don't see each other. Some of them are alone, some of them have big families, some of them are frustrated. So I asked a couple of very good psychologists and coaches to give their recommendations regarding the issue. So we started to talk about mentoring as a person-to-person interaction, which require person-to-person trust, first of all. What would you recommend as a first, let's say, 1 thing or 2 things or 3 things of how to keep this trust, how to keep this human connection, how to keep it when you're digital, when you are in different places, sometimes in different countries?
We guess that to have a greater communication, firstly, you should understand like your client or your customer and like your customer's main points, their behavior, understand what is more comfortable for them, like what would be like appropriate, sending messages or calling them. So just understand the way of your client.
Agree the communication method, comfortable to all of them.
Yeah, comfortable to their client.
All right. Angelica, Nikolai, anything you would like to ask or to add or to comment? All right, thank you very much. And we have one more topic, diversity and inclusion. Quite a trendy thing and also connected to accelerated speed of changes we faced. So please, team, the floor is yours. Give your points and the results of your research and your conclusions.
Okay, so can you see the presentation? And I try to make it full screen. Is it full screen now?
It's full screen now.
Great. So, well, it's an honor to participate in such conference. And today I would like to present you the following theme, that is DAI versus DEIB, and why is belonging so important? Well, actually, diversity, equity, and inclusion, that is DEI, have long been recognized as essential components of creating a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive workplace. However, especially since 2021, as a response to the isolation and lack of connectedness triggered by the pandemic, more emphasis is made on the adding belonging to this concept. Thus, an acronym DEIB has appeared. So compared to the previous concept, this one goes a step further by fostering a sense of acceptance, connection, and community among employees. So fostering belonging means that everyone and people of all backgrounds get a seat at the table and feel heard, seen, and recognized for their contributions. Well, why is belonging so important? Actually, psychologically, humans have a fundamental need to be accepted in social groups. That is to say, we simply must establish and maintain good relationships in order to feel comfortable and integrated in any environment. If we don't feel so, we move on. Secondly, a sense of belonging improves personal feelings of positivity. And as employees who aren't engaged, don't feel valued, or for example, who are burnt out, they are not be as productive as positive employees are. That is why positive employee experiences are critical to long-term success in recruitment, retention, and performing outcomes. And thirdly, by creating a culture of belonging, organizations can also empower individuals to bring their authentic selves, to contribute their unique talents, and as a result, come up with some interesting ideas. And to give some figures, we can look at research conducted by coaching platform called BetterUp in around 2019. And they investigate the role of belonging at work and the outside circumstances of its absence. And as a result, workplace belonging leads to a 56% increase in job performance, 50% reduction in turnover risk, and 75% decrease in employee sick days. So we've understood why is belonging so important. Now let's look at how to create this feeling. First of all, the development of openness, mutual trust, and respect between employees and employers is crucially important for improving a sense of belonging among colleagues. And to do so, the company should encourage interaction and teamwork between individuals who may not otherwise interact. And for instance, it can be rotating hot desks, new office setups, or for example, remote workers, to give remote workers a chance to come together. Well, secondly, it is important to understand that small, simple gestures are an impactful and cost-effective way to make employees feel they are valued. And there can be something like allowing to announce big wins, honoring employees' work anniversaries, or introducing unique award programs that go beyond the standard so-called Employee of the Month. And last but not least, in order to improve belonging at workplace, it is essential to introduce different ways of getting feedbacks from employees, such as listening sessions and anonymous surveys that so as to allow employees speak freely and without fear. And to conclude, belonging is the crucial piece of the puzzle called DEIB, leading to psychological safety and employee engagement. And while diversity and inclusion refers to an organization's attempt at creating an environment for individuals to be their whole selves, belonging is actually the success of those efforts. And this brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Well, you delivered a lot of material in a very short time and in a very structural way. Thanks for this. And definitely you touched several very different items, and let's speak 5 to 7 minutes about them. Yeah, plus I understand pluses, and I virtually put plus by myself. So first of all, definitely there is a competition for skilled resources, and to attract these resources, We definitely need some of the tools you presented as part of this diversity and inclusion things. But since people are different and companies are also different, regarding this issue, most important type of difference is a culture. So company culture, sometimes people say we don't have culture. Well, culture is like an air around us. It always exists. Probably you don't like this air, but there is always something. And unfortunately, in quite a lot of Russian companies, and surprisingly, tremendous amount of international companies, the culture of power, the red culture, prevails and exists. There are a lot of researches regarding culture. To me, mentally, I most like this spiral dynamic. I use it in my practical work, and I check companies against their level of culture as a very, let's say, brief tool. I will place in our group the link to the open material. It's an extended paper of a very good practitioner in terms of corporate culture. So, and sometimes in Russian companies and in state institutions, they taught me one phrase. What is the method of carrot and stick? You know what is carrot and stick? Russian way. What is the specificity? Russian specificity is that carrot is used as a stick as well. So it's funny, but it apparently affects because people, sometimes they leave these organizations because of the culture. And important thing is that people typically leave companies because of their culture. It's not because they don't do their job or other reasons. They leave because of culture, and they don't have major motivation to be included in this thing. Rather, they look some, let's say, shelters or ways to hide or ways to stay low or something. One of these ways is called meta position. It's psychological, let's say, thinking that you are in the organization, but at the same time you're mentally out. Well, it's a little bit schizophrenic, but it helps to hide. It has its benefits, it has its disadvantages. So when you speak about diversity and inclusion, definitely you should speak about the company culture of how it affects this diversity and inclusion. Is it supportive or will it kill it or somehow? So culture is important, and definitely, as I said, I will provide the material. Please have some reading, and entering new organization, you will be looking at words, phrases, gestures, which, and after a while, you will start to learn how to identify this culture of this particular organization. So, colleagues, Nikolai, Angelika, maybe you have additions or comments on this speech.
I see that there is a question in the chat.
Please read the question and proceed.
Okay, so what is the most effective way to provide remote workers with the sense of belonging, as well as their colleagues who work in office? So I can suggest to make meetings or conferences, for example, every month, or like for example, every month, and give a chance to these remote workers to come to this workplace, to the company, and to meet all their colleagues, and to participate like physically in the life, in the discussion, and so on. Well, this may be like one of the ways to make these like remote workers feel that they are also part of the team of a company, and they also can contribute their ideas and their work to the success.
Thank you for the answer.
Nikolai, probably you will add something, because it is Nikolai who is constantly teaching me that communication is important. The more communication is better.
Yeah, thank you, Pavel. So, for my opinion, And my recipe, when I'm working on some project, I'm trying to create, it's a good command, and how to do it, just to make some common activities, just go to cafe or bar or whatever. So that's all. It's like people interaction. So just like in living. So it's my recipe. So, but of course, on a company level, it's very difficult to make it on a big scale.
Well, it was a comment in chat that corporate parties is the response. Yes and no. First, it's quite a good tool, and surprisingly, I attended enormous amount of corporate parties with no alcohol, and the result was good, had been good. It's a different story, but there is a possibility. But consider it against culture again. What if there is a heavy distrust in the organization between people, distrust and fear, to tell something which you don't want to be heard, or you just keep quiet? In this case, probably at the parties, people will be playing their role, or they will try to, let's say, to not to participate. So looking for better result, you may get worse result. First of all, company culture should be identified, and this diversity and inclusion tools should be checked against this culture. Okay. Other questions and comments? Sorry, it's not that comfortable to me to see you and at the same time to see the chat. That's why I'm asking. Any other questions now? All right, then let's go to the final part of our conversation today. And I would appreciate, if possible, please show your faces, because I would like to, let's say, to see you, to see your reaction, to smile, and to have this open conversation, because I will not have slides. So I will be speaking about mentoring. I will be speaking about face-to-face mentoring and my personal experience, because I was lucky to find two world-class mentors, definitely world-class top people in their profession. Many years ago, I was reading the book of the guy who created this Starbucks coffee chain. And he started this business as a startup for a moment. And he put one statement that when it was a small company, he found a mentor who helped him to, let's say, to upscale the company to the bigger scale. When they extended, when they started to be international, he found another mentor. So he was getting more and more in the scale, but he was looking for a person smarter than himself, capable to pull the company and himself, his leadership thinking, his strategic thinking, and his personal characteristics to this next level. It was many years ago, and I was thinking, Jesus, it would be nice to find a person like this. And surprisingly, thinking of mentoring, I found another example. In 2005, there was a movie named American Gangster, about real person, real gangster, busy with the drug dealing. By the way, we don't approve drug dealing and drug consumption. We definitely don't approve it. But it was an interesting story that he was having a mentor as well, an older gangster he was working for, and they were discussing some organization mechanisms, some ways, some supply chain things. There is a supply chain. And when he started to be a big guy, Irina, okay, if no video, then it's not a problem. Let's just proceed and let's keep talking. So, and this gangster, the hero, by the way, it's real person. So this movie is biographic. So he implemented some of the mechanism. He implemented some of the organization, let's say, structure. He improved something. He came to the bigger scale, but he didn't succeed to establish the sustainable organization. So at the end of the day, he failed and he had been arrested. So it was quite an interesting mentoring story. But now let's go to my case. Not that contradictory as a drug dealing. It was a digital transformation project, first in my life. It was in 2005, and I was IT project manager. I was doing typical IT implementation projects. I didn't know much about company enterprise transformation, and in the company I was working for, there were changes in management, and one of the vice presidents, he was responsible to architect, like Nikolai was telling, and to think and to execute this digital transformation. Organizationally, I wasn't close. Luckily, the company was Scandinavian and he's Scandinavian. So the mental distance between me and this vice president, so it wasn't that huge. And once in the canteen, I asked him a question like, may I ask more about what this digital transformation is about? And next day, he spent with me like more than 1 hour. It was a surprise for me. I was thinking he will give me 10 minutes or something. But one thing I realized that time, that every person doing transformation, every person doing major change while entering the company start to look, let's say allies, people who will be working with them, the team. So, and it's always the case, and it's quite helpful to find mentor this way. And he asked me some questions, and he said, okay, this question, and then he said, okay, you would like to do my job after 5 years, right? And I told him yes. So I started to work for his projects and for his team, and he was putting me into different positions, into different trainings. And only after a couple of years, I realized that he took this assignment very seriously. So he was giving me piece of knowledge here, piece of practice here, piece of knowledge here. So I'm supposed to be capable to do his job after some years. You may ask me a question of what to do if you still study, if you are not entering the company. Well, definitely there is a lot of corporate mechanisms like trainee programs. So companies, they search for students who still study or who are finishing, or young professionals who spend a professional career 2 to 3 to 4 years. So monitor the industry you are interested, monitor the companies you are interested, and probably monitor people you are interested. Because most of many change leaders are presented in social media or YouTube or something, so you may try finding necessary person. And there was a question earlier of should we pay mentors, should not, should there be any, let's say, structured process regarding mentoring. I'm thinking about it for years. And sometimes I think it can be process, but in most cases, I think it's a magic. Some magic when you meet people, person, and it's not about just establishing the trust, and it's not about establishing common work, but it's also matching the interest of you to learn, of you to proceed, and matching the interest of your mentor to give the knowledge, to have you using this knowledge in these practical assignments and practical tasks. So sometimes I really think it's magic. Probably you can put some digital platforms to find mentors and mentees, but I don't think this is the case. So probably the first intermediate conclusion is that it's quite easier to find mentor in turbulent environment. When companies are changing, when people are changing companies, definitely and usually in these situations, there is more work than workers. So it's a possibility to find, let's say, to find mentor in large and complex projects and in transformation projects. So what it takes. First of all, there you are in complicated projects, and I was in complicated projects in challenging environment, and so there were many times I was, let's say, even having a burnout. But what you have is not just interesting tasks, but you have a possibility to sit with a person who's using his experience to, let's say, to grow your professional development career. And sometimes we were discussing not just my steps within the company, but my steps out of the company. And when some years after we finished our mentoring cycle, well, I called him and asked, should I move to another country? and he was explaining me the pros and cons, the possibilities and risks. So we were not in the position of subordinate and employee, but still there was a mentoring. So we use, let's say, I used his extensive knowledge in industry and in different career paths, because definitely he saw dozens of companies and dozens of, let's say, work situations. It's not just about work, it's about personal also. I have a second marriage, I was divorced, and when I saw his family and how it was, I decided that it will be my role model as well to build my family. So sometimes mentor is not about work, it's about life as well. So following his recommendation, I moved to another country for a very huge transformation project. I knew quite a lot about the technology side, but I met another mentor, head of this program, and it was about transformation change for the company with a headcount of 65,000 people. So this was more about change management. This was more about human interaction. This was more about how executives operate, how executives initiate changes, how executives behave regarding changes, and how executives and people in the companies resist changes. Because believe it or not, if we have complicated changes, introducing new processes, flattening the organization structure, not to make it like this, but like this, implementing new IT tools, giving transparency, there will be many people not happy with it. So sometimes it's personal interests, sometimes it's just threat of their place in the organization, real threat, or let's say hallucination, as Nikolai told. So we were busy with this resistance, with this project, and organization learned to execute very huge projects in time and a budget. Since we're speaking about 65,000 persons, there are many projects. There should be a discipline, there should be a tool which affect not just technology, not processes, not papers, but also people's minds, and also people's hearts. So I learned quite a lot from this person who, at the moment, she was busy with such projects for 32 years, 32, in all the continents except Antarctica, maybe. So we spent 3 years at the desks next to one another. And when I was thinking of what was my success story, because people asked me how you got such a mentor and you spent 3 years next to this person, I said, at the beginning, project had been in a shitty situation. So we were fixing the situation. We were resolving problems and conflicts and whatever happening every day and happening every week. So if you seek for mentor, be ready to get involved into challenging environments, into challenging projects. Luckily, as I said, these mechanisms of enterprise mentoring and trainee programs, they give you an opportunity to enter this part of the world in a relatively safe way. So seek for projects, seek for huge changes, and seek for persons, seek for leader who is capable to explain, because not good manager, good CEO is not necessarily a good mentor. So look for a person with emotional quotient, emotional intelligence. Otherwise, you may face, let's say, emotional exhaustion dealing with a person who don't have this thing. And at the end of the story, I asked myself many times of what drives people to be mentors. They are busy. They have busy lives. They have crises here and there and everywhere, especially if they implement big projects, implement big changes in the organizations. So motivations can be several. As I said, first of all, is definitely they are fetching teams. They are fetching for allies to build their teams and to operate in a a larger scale. Other motivation can be that people just need an appreciation of their experience. They passed through a lot of challenges, they passed through a lot of steps, and they passed through some failures even. And they need someone around who will say, oh, Jesus, you're great. Why not? People need it. But there is a category and there is a motivation of persons I saw between quite top managers. They just cannot not sharing their knowledge, their skill, their experience. Mentoring, either they just need it. Mentees need it, but mentors also need it as well, and it comes very much from inside. And surprisingly, I saw it in a very huge government levels, because quite a lot of deputy ministers, and even vice premiers, well, they give lectures, they speak to people, they give mentoring, and very eagerly. The same is in the business organization. If you look at, let's say, at RANEPA, there are situations when top managers are visiting lectures, giving lectures from the state area, from the government area, from business areas. So seek for them, seek for people, sharing knowledge, sharing experience. And to conclude, we discussed that how many mentees can be per one mentor. I believe it's very, very much person to person. Physical presence is required, but it's also from heart to heart interaction. And to proceed with your career, to develop yourself, I wish you all a good luck and possibility to meet your mentor. Thank you. Okay. Pluses and your questions, please.
Mm-hmm.
I will add a little bit to this personal story, and as I said, it's personal. I was trying to make a paper about this mentoring approach, mentoring methodology. I wrote 30 plus papers, but this one I was not able to write. Something blocks me. I tried it five times. So this is the first time I'm telling this story publicly.
Well done. Thank you very much for sharing with us. Does anybody want to say something? On the student side, what are your feelings?
Yes. May I ask a question?
Yes, of course.
First of all, thank you for your story. Well, it was quite interesting, and it provokes a lot of thoughts about my own life and maybe my dreams about future career and people which I want to meet, because I also want this role model as you had. So my question is, for you, mentor is more about role model who just live autonomously and you just follow him or her, or it's more about a tutor or teacher who accompany you on all your way up the career ladder?
Well, I would say it's much more broad, and least part is just a knowledge sharing. Second part is that mentor is placing you to the assignment where you can learn. Remember what Angelika was telling about 70%. 70% you take from assignments and from your work. So mentor is helping you with some assignments. And sometimes you're doing mistakes. And mentor is telling, yes, please be very careful about this. This is a very favorite phrase of my first mentor. If I would be you, I would be extremely careful about this, about something. Definitely it's a role model. And sometimes I was noticing that in the negotiations or in work, I'm using some tricks from my mentors, some ways of phrasing, ways of presenting materials, ways of argumenting, ways of structuring the material. And after a while, it becomes part of you. So first you use the things, then you embed them into you. And well, when my mother got into hospital, it was my second mentor who spent an evening before my departure to the airport to the hospital. So sometimes mentor help in these situations as well. So it's much bigger than a role model, than a tutor, much bigger.
Thank you so much.
Pavel, there was a question from me earlier, a little bit earlier before, about a paradox people may experience when entering an organization, when they occupy a basic position from which it will hardly be suitable to translate some proposal about changing the structure, or better say architecture of the organization. But at the same time, it's probably the time they started doing it. So how to solve this paradox? When you are young, it's too early. When you are an advanced professional, it's probably too late. So,
well, again and again, it's time to look at the company culture, because if we have really experienced manager, he or she understands that being on top, you need some mechanisms to get the information from the bottom. Some information changes, and they establish this content, let's say, channels. Let me tell the story about my second mentor, a lady. I was having a mentee, a girl who just started to work, and she said, "Pavel, I see the problem in master data here. Should I tell it to our superior, person 3 levels tops to her?" And I said, definitely yes, because the culture is very responsive to this. And she told it, and we made change in the methodology. So it's more the responsibility of top people to establish the thing that people who just enter the organization, they have a possibility to express their opinions, suggest their improvements, suggest their projects. And since Nikolai spent quite some years in innovation, probably Nikolai, you will support me in this. So establishing the possibility to people from the entry positions to, let's say, to express themselves and to promote their ideas.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions before we part? And we are very reluctant to part, of course, I understand. With such outstanding mentors and experts we have here.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Sorry, it's not about the topic, it's a little bit personal, but anyway, I think other students will be also, it will be useful for everyone. So you're a person with a great experience, so can you give advice which company and which positions are good to develop yourself and to get to get interesting projects? So, and yeah, and this is the first question. And the second one, if the person want to be an entrepreneur, so how many years he or she should spend in the companies, in the different corporate culture, in order to get experience and in order to be ready to launch his own product or something like that?
Well, there are several questions around it. First, how to find a right company. We are different. For example, I was not an entrepreneur, not a single day in my life, so I don't know this part of life. And probably it's a little bit too late. About interesting companies, well, first, establish a personal strategy. For example, you're interested in particular industry, or you're interested in consulting. Consulting is a very interesting area. Bright minds are very much demanded, and you can learn a lot. I spent half of my life in consulting, so this broad visibility of the companies, of the industries, it basically came from consulting. And established consulting houses is very good to start. Not a lot of money, but the possibility to learn a lot in quite a short time. In consulting, things are moving very, very fast. So probably there is a good possibility to consider. Another good possibility to consider is to travel. When you're young, travel as much as you can. I started at 29. It's a little bit too late. So this is about it. And about consulting, about this entrepreneurship, how many years you should spend in corporate environment? Well, probably 0, because big companies are generally not very entrepreneurial. But I would like Angelika to comment on how to proceed to this entrepreneurial path on how to start.
Yes, thank you. I see another option is to join a startup in such small but high potential companies. You can create things, new technologies, and try the sense of being entrepreneur. Because startups often have horizontal organizational structure and horizontal networking relationships. So you can see the startup as a good option if you're ready to work hard, work a lot, and to take the responsibility for different parts, not only, for example, management or marketing or product management, but separate spheres, and it also a good chance, a good option to see, to try a helicopter view and see how your small company can scale and create something in big environments. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be good to start small. For example, you were telling us about this drone thing. The smaller company is, the less price of the mistake is also. But there is another possibility. One person, American, he established a cloud computing company in early millennium, very early, and they provided a CRM service. But previously, he was in company in corporate IT world, and he had 2 mentors. One was head of Oracle, Larry Ellison, and another was Bill Gates from Microsoft. Global IT companies. So he got top of the cream in mentoring, and he established his company then. So it's probably a good example. The company is called Salesforce.com. So, and I forgot the name of the guy, but he also released the book about his, let's say, development, and also about his mentoring part. So it was some question in the chat. Let me see. What would be your dream destination, maybe in terms of personal growth, in example? Very good question, very personal question. So after I spent sometimes some years in the company with 300,000 persons of the headcount, and I was in the head office of this company. After I was working with deputy ministers, federal ministers of Russia, probably looking this direction, well, I'm not looking much higher. So the luxury of my situation is that I can extend some areas of interest regarding, let's say, my wishes. For example, now I'm busy with the corporate architecture, business architecture, and I was looking into this side for last 4 years. So I made a career move. I made this development, and I will combine this knowledge with my change management knowledge, with this, with the other competences I got to the companies. So I'm looking for interesting companies and interesting people. This is, let's say, the priority. Hopefully I answered.
Pavel, I'm afraid it was about traveling more than
traveling.
Traveling in the literal meaning of it. not
Mhm, mhm.
doing a switching from company to company.
I spent some years in Central Europe, some years in Scandinavia, but my personal preference, probably I will implement it somehow, is Far East. So I like Asian things. It's totally different country, culture, and totally different set of relations. So Far East.
Far East is big. Japan? North Korea?
No, Japan is a
Malaysia.
type of the country which is a little bit stalled, which is a little bit stagnating. Probably Vietnam, probably Indonesia, because Indonesia is boosting, is developing very heavily. I was speaking with Indonesian consultants, so this is a very developing part of the world.
Mhm. Thank you very much. Pavel, please, I sent you a personal, not personal, but a question to your personal chat.
Let's
Is
see.
that or?
Oh, don't see it. Please just shoot. I will manage.
Yeah, it is about, no, we had such practices with Pavel before that as a result or after, as a follow-up of such sessions, he invited a couple of students, he would invite a couple of students for a mentoring session. That's what happened with Angelica, and we all see the result, which I'm very proud of being, or better to say that she was my student in the IBS. So will anything like that happen to the participants of this session? Or if you are not ready to say now, probably will, think about it.
We don't change the rules. We do the same.
You do the same. So you will get in touch, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
sure.
yes, perfect.
Great.
Thank you very much. Anybody else wants to say anything else?
Your thinking, your opinion, your notions. Pavel, you're talking bullshit or not necessarily a bullshit or something. And please feel free to say thanks to the team, because this time, as I said, we are a team of 3.
You're a team of 3, yes. Students, please, what?
Yeah, thank you a lot. It was one of the best conferences that I ever participated. And another question, what is the best book for young manager to understand different interesting topics?
Okay, I will tell you, and it's a very interesting story. So many years ago, I was reading a book. Author is David D'Alessandro, Italian-American, and he made the path from really junior employee to the president of quite a huge investment company. And he wrote a book named Career Wars. So he was having a book on marketing wars and then career wars. I was buying this book 5 times because the structure of the book is the following. Okay, it's your first work. What are the pitfalls? What should you do? What you should not to do? And then you have your first management position. What you should do, what you should not to do. Then you have an executive position. Then you are public. So what should you do? If I would read this book when I was 20, my career was probably be developing with, let's say, I would save 3 to 5 years of myself. And the problem is, I was buying this book 5 or 6 times, and all the copies are stolen from me by my friends, by my colleagues. And I lost 10 years. I'm trying to find an electronic copy of this book. And surprisingly, I could not. So probably having this one and only book, I would mention this Career Wars. I will try to put some links. So if you succeed to find electronic copy, please send it back to me. I would like to read it more. To be more practical, I definitely recommend to get acquainted with the basics of the corporate culture. And I promise that I will put into the chat 1 or 2 web links regarding the topic. So this is the immediate answer. But as I said, books are books, but most you get from practical assignments.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you. So if nobody wants to say anything else, then I want to just once again to express my gratitude to the team, their willingness to work with students, regardless of them being busy now on the project away from their from where they live permanently. They're broadcasting from Tomsk now. Yes.
Well, I'm in Tomsk. Angelika is in Moscow. Nikolai is in St. Petersburg. So we are different towns.
From different places. So I'm very glad for our students, because I probably expressing my personal point, but it is because of that, on the sake of that, that we are organizing these conferences. That for many of you, it's a priceless, I think, insight into the world of real business. Not only today, but yesterday, and probably later on today as well. And what is more important, and moreover, and it is into the level it is the access to the level of generalization. Many of you will never get access, will be entitled or get access to, or many of you will get access later on in life. So to these from such professional areas, you will never try for yourself. So it's a priceless experience, you see, which beats anything else. That's how I see. What is your opinion? It would be very lovely to get a feedback from you. That's it.
Well, one of the first things my mentor told me, that Pavel, top manager's life is much less glamorous than it thought to be. And it's definitely true, because it sounds nice, enterprise transformation and change projects, but there are pitfalls everywhere.
Yes.
Okay.
Could I say?
So.
No, that's not all. Pavel, thank you very, very much. Really well. We always enjoy your presence and your participation, and thank you for being so loyal to us, to our joint venture, joint endeavor, actually, which happens annually. And we hope to see you again and again, and we can listen to you, well, as long as you can afford the time. Really, it's always a pleasure. And I would like, just a sec, if you don't mind. And really, Irina mentioned willingness. Willingness, well, it's dedication, willingness, readiness, just to share, to convince, to advise, to recommend, to educate. We could enumerate lots of things that, well, this is real mentoring. In fact, we have gone through today in action. So thanks a lot for such an experience. And I hope the students, well, they're keeping silent, probably, will just being a little bit modest, I don't know. Well, I'm sure they have benefited a lot from what they heard and seen today, and they still need time probably to digest it, to rethink, yes, and they definitely will. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you again and again.
And well, one interesting thing is that since 2019, we are finding different topics every year. So these topics this time they are different than topics we were speaking a year ago. And all our team will stay in this chat of the conference, so you can find us there.
And best regards to the teams, whichever city you are in at the moment. Thank you very much for participation. And well, actually, it was a great success, I think, today. Thank you.
Thank you, and good luck. Thanks.